Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named OKMeal in the advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My past infidelity has came to life. I need advice on saving my relationship with my husband and sister. These are not real names. A long time ago, after dating for years, my now husband Stuart and I got married. It was his first deployment and I didn't know how to handle not seeing him. I have developed better coping mechanisms since then. He is leaving active duty now, but I understand the importance of having a friend group and even got a dog to help when he's away. He only deployed one more time after that and has been home for the past 2 years. Now, with him leaving active duty, we are finally about to get settled and move to DC, where we both have jobs. I am ashamed to say that during his first deployment, I was unfaithful to him. I was in a vulnerable state, and my sister's husband drove 3 hours to help me repaint the patio. I had always had a crush on him, but never thought of acting on it. Selfishly, we started hooking up, and it haunts me to this day. We would find excuses for her to come down here, and my sister Jane had to watch the baby. Well, my sister found out he was cheating because he gave her chlamydia, even though he was supposed to be hooking up only with me. I usually take my sexual health very seriously and had never cheated before. I realized I was risking my marriage, my health, and my husband's health, so I cut things off. Since then, I have made sure to be the perfect wife and sister, but my sister recently filed for a divorce because he kept cheating on her. I guess he realized that she wasn't taking him back, and in an effort to hurt her, he told her about our past. It's just evil. I can't believe he would say something just to hurt her because she won't tolerate his cheating anymore. My sister told my husband today and everything blew up. He got a hotel and my sister cursed me out and has told me I'm dead to her. She blocked me on everything. I have received calls from family members. My mom sent me a nasty message, my brother, almost everyone. My dad has been very sympathetic and I appreciate him for that. I told him I'll call him tomorrow, but right now I just feel like my life blew up and I have no one. Update. I have gotten a lot of angry comments and rightfully so. There is no way to justify what happened and I will not do that. All I can say is that I deeply regret my actions. It was hard looking myself in the mirror. My dad has been my rock throughout all of this. I cried when talking to him, but he let me know I am not a bad person and he understands why I never told anyone. He also talked to my husband and convinced him to have a conversation with me. He tried to convince my sister, but she said no, and I told my dad we have to respect that. My husband and I did talk. He asked if there was any other time I cheated on him, and I told him absolutely not. He is hurt right now, he said, and he needs space. He thought we had a great marriage before this and now does not know what we have. That really hurt. Thankfully, he will not make any rash decisions, he said. He is going to take some time for his mental health so he can think clearly. Then he wants us to go to counseling, and after counseling, he will make a decision. I told him I would love to do counseling and I am ready whenever he is ready. I am still sad, but I am feeling better. My dad said he will come visit me next weekend and is reminding me that I am not a bad person and we all make mistakes. He let me know it is what we do moving forward that makes us who we are as people, and those words are helping me move more than ever. Update 2. I know I'm not the most popular person on Reddit, but I am really trying to save my marriage. I'm extremely nervous about Tuesday, which is our first session. I told him I'm committed to regaining his trust and putting our marriage back to where it was before everything came out. He said he will try to reconcile, but made no promises. He is trying but not handling it very well. He doesn't know how to feel about my guy friends and said he's suspicious and wonders if there are more people I cheated with. I didn't and never cheated other than the situation we all know about. I do not see my guy friends that way. As for my sister, I still haven't heard from her. My dad said once things settle down, he will try to help mend things between us. But right now, the only thing I can focus on is rebuilding my relationship with my husband, who is actually talking to me and trying. Any tips on rebuilding this relationship and getting ready for therapy on Tuesday? Zookeeper Gamewise said, I mean, it seems as though the only reason she stopped the affair was because he gave her a sexually transmitted infection, and she realized he was sleeping with other people too. Nothing to do with morals, sisterly feelings, or common decency. To this, Null Binding said, yeah, when she said that he was only supposed to be sleeping with her and his wife. The gall, seriously. Papa Berto said, "Oh, so her former affair partner is evil for telling her sister about the affair. That's not how it works. It takes two to tango. I hope the marriage counseling helps the husband realize he's better off without OP." To this comment, Ramp Scamp said, "Also, telling about the affair is the least evil thing that cheater did. It was downright honest and commendable." This next post was made by a throwaway account in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I lied to my boyfriend about my match day. So I and my boyfriend have been together for 4 years. Our relationship has been amazing except for when we have special occasions or gatherings. He is a really sensitive and emotional type to the point that it gets awkward and embarrassing. Match day is the day when medical students find out where they will do their residency. I have been extremely stressed because I was hoping for my first choice and didn't need any extra stressors. My boyfriend asked what time the event that my program was hosting to reveal the match day results would be, and I just knew he would be over the top with emotion and cause me embarrassment. So I lied and told him a time well after I'd find out. Match day was Friday and I got my first choice. My boyfriend arrived an hour before the event ended and was visibly upset with me. He went home afterward and won't return my calls. Edit, thank you to everyone who has commented and given me advice. I'd like to preface by saying I love my boyfriend and know what I did was wrong and could have been avoided by a conversation. That being said, he did text saying he wants to talk. I'll update when I can. Update. So, wow, the response I got back from this has been pretty massive. Unfortunately, I cannot read all of the comments, but I'm surprised not to be automatically shunned as the asshole. I know what I did was not only messed up, but lacked consideration for my boyfriend. He texted me last night and said he wanted to talk about what happened. My stomach dropped like that feeling you get on a roller coaster. We met this morning at our favorite little bakery and I got him his favorite macarons and breakfast sandwich. At first, I was really nervous and anxious that what I did was irreversible. I, of course, told him not only that I was sorry, but also explained why I did it. We hadn't really had this kind of conversation, so he was pretty taken aback by why I didn't want him there. Fortunately, he said he understood but was really hurt that I didn't talk to him and found a reason to lie to him instead. He said that he still wanted to be with me but that we should try counseling, both together and separately. He was concerned that his many emotional bouts caused attention to be taken away from me and placed on him whenever we went to any special event. After breakfast, we just walked around his neighborhood and held hands. He invited me back to his place to see the dog, and now I'm just writing this lying in bed. I might have another update, I don't know. Thank you to everyone who said I was the asshole and anyone else who did not. Thank you for your comments too. Update 2. Many of you were spot on about my boyfriend not only being amazing, but also sensitive and thoughtful. As soon as I typed up the first update, I went to take a shower. Upon getting out, my boyfriend was in a suit and there was an envelope in his hand. Yes, I think now would be a cause to cry. He said that we can do our own match ceremony. Inside the envelope was a paper saying you match with insert hospital and OP's boyfriend. Yes, I did tear up and my boyfriend absolutely cried, but my god, he's a pretty crier. And yes, we have made sure we are on the same page. Update 3. Hello everyone, I decided to make this final update for anyone who has questions as well as those just wanting to see how my boyfriend and I are doing. Firstly, we're doing great. He started his individual therapy 2 weeks ago and seems to find it really helpful. We had our first session together last Monday. I obviously won't go into detail, but I realized further how my actions really hurt my boyfriend and am doing everything to not only make up for it, but to never make the same mistake again. Secondly, some people were asking about how our relationship will handle my residency. He actually works remotely, so we agreed to move together. I'm really looking forward to this next chapter, even though I have a very grueling residency to begin. We have found a place that we like and have been steadily moving down there. I actually told him about the Reddit post not too long after, and he was very chill about it. We went through a lot of the comments together and just talked about it. I am thankful for all of the honest commentators, even the ones who believed I should be dumped, because it's nice to have an outside look at a situation. That's pretty much it, really. We have our anniversary soon, and I want to go all out before my life becomes too hectic. Let me know if down the line you'd like another update. For now, that's it. Thank you. Macaroni Rascal said OP definitely went about things the wrong way. However, I do empathize that overly effusive people and reactions are just not what the doctor ordered sometimes. You have to read the room and be socially conscious to an extent, and when someone can't do that, it's rough and awkward all around. I'm glad they could talk and work it out. Terracotta Tile Fish said, I can see why OP didn't want his boyfriend there. Match day has the potential to be awful or wonderful, not only for you, but for the whole rest of the class. There is basically zero chance that someone doesn't end up disappointed. If OP was concerned about not matching at his first choice, having to manage his own reaction and his boyfriend's outsized reaction, knowing that other people were likely also having intensely emotional moments of their own at the same time, I can see why OP would rather just rip off the band-aid by himself. Like, it's one thing for your partner to get all choked up at your wedding or on your birthday or another day when you're the focus, but if they're doing it in a dramatic and loud way when dozens of your friends are having their own personal, emotionally fraught moments, it just seems really self-centered. It was unkind and cowardly to lie about it though. My school's match day event was just for the students for the first hour so that everyone could get their news, and families and friends were invited for the party afterward. This final post was made in the AITA subreddit by a user named Super Donut. The post is titled, I don't let my roommate's boyfriend shower at our place anymore. So I live in a 2-bedroom flat with my roommate. We've lived together for a little over a year and mostly things have been fine. We split rent and bills evenly and we're friendly, though not super close. We respect each other's space and it's been good up until recently. About 6 months ago, she started dating this guy. He was around once or twice a week at first, but now he's here constantly, literally sleeping over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes full weeks in a row. He's not on the lease, doesn't pay rent, doesn't bring shopping, and doesn't help with anything at all. Nothing. I've never said much because I get it. It's her boyfriend and I didn't want to start drama, but what's been bothering me lately is the shower thing. He showers all the time, like twice a day minimum, sometimes more. And every single time he uses my stuff, my shampoo, conditioner, face wash, razor, deodorant. I didn't even say anything the first few times because I thought maybe she let him borrow something once. But this is just ongoing now. I've moved all my things into my room and carry them back and forth like I'm at a camp or something. I brought it up to my roommate a while ago and she just said he probably didn't realize and didn't do anything about it. Last week, I finally said something more direct and told her I wasn't comfortable with him showering here constantly, especially since he doesn't live here, doesn't contribute anything, and uses my stuff. I told her I'd feel differently if he at least bought his own stuff or chipped in somehow. She got super annoyed and said he doesn't have any money right now, so it's not like he can buy his own things, and that I was being cold and controlling. She told me I was overreacting and that it's just hygiene. I snapped and said it's not about hygiene, it's about boundaries and respect. For what it's worth, I wouldn't have even minded grabbing him some basics if she just asked, but she didn't, and neither did he. They just assumed I'd be fine with it. And honestly, I don't even really like him. He's not awful, just kind of moochy and not self-aware at all. So maybe I'm being harsh because I already find him annoying. Now my roommate is barely speaking to me and told one of our mutual friends that I'm being weirdly territorial and passive-aggressive over a guy taking a quick shower. I don't know. Part of me feels bad because he is broke and maybe I'm being too harsh, but I also feel like I'm being walked over in my own home. I just need unbiased advice. So am I the asshole? Update. So I ended up having another conversation with my roommate after she got home, mostly because I couldn't keep walking around like everything's fine when it's really not. The comments I read from my previous post helped me come to that conclusion. I told her as calmly as I could that this situation is seriously getting to me. I get that she's in love, but I'm not just some side character in her life who has to deal with her boyfriend constantly being in our home. I told her flat out that it's been months now of him basically living here, eating, showering, lounging around, sleeping over 5 to 6 nights a week, and it's crossing the line. She just kind of blinked at me and said I was being heartless, literally said those exact words, saying I had no compassion for her relationship or for him, or the fact that he had barely any money and needed somewhere to stay most days and needed food, etc. She accused me of being dramatic and of caring more about shampoo than a person who means the world to her. I just snapped. I told her this is not about shampoo, it's about the fact that her boyfriend, who doesn't pay rent, doesn't contribute to bills, and isn't even on the lease, has been using all of my personal stuff for months without asking. Like, literally never asked, not once, and neither did she. He just started helping himself to my shampoo, conditioner, razor, face wash, and deodorant, like I'm running a free hotel and he's a guest. The worst part is he barely even talks to me. This man's been living in my space for months, and I swear we've had maybe 2 conversations ever. Half the time he doesn't even say hi when he walks in the door. He just walks straight past me like I'm invisible and hops in the shower with my products like it's no big deal. I can't believe I have put up with it for this long. I told her if either of them had asked even just once, I probably would have been chill about it. Like, yeah, he's broke. I get it because times are hard. I would have even offered to grab him a few basics if he was short on cash, but no one said anything. They just silently decided it was okay for him to mooch off me, my stuff, and my space without so much as a conversation. Like, I don't get a say in any of this. She got super defensive, arms crossed, and full of attitude, and said something like, well, he's my boyfriend and I'm allowed to have him over. It's my home too. I said, yeah, you are allowed to have him over, but let's not pretend like he's just here sometimes. He's always here. He's been here more nights than not for the past few months, and when he's not sleeping over, he's still around. He's basically moved in without actually moving in, and if he's gonna act like he lives here, then he needs to contribute like he lives here. She just rolled her eyes and said, and I quote, "Get used to it. He's my boyfriend, and as I said before, he has barely any money, so wouldn't be able to contribute anything." That was it for me. I've been so patient. I have tried to be understanding. I've given them the benefit of the doubt over and over again. But at this point, I feel completely disrespected and walked over in my own home. I've realized I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting to months of not being heard and being treated like I don't matter. I'm calling our landlord tomorrow morning. I'm going to explain that this guy has effectively moved in. He's been staying here for weeks on end, using the amenities, taking up space, and not paying a single penny toward rent or bills. If he's going to keep staying here, he needs to start paying his share. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm not going to keep carrying the weight of a third person in this flat just because my roommate's in a relationship. She made it clear she's not going to do anything about it, so now I have to. Thank you for your responses on the previous post. They really helped me come to terms with the situation. Update 2. So, like I said I would, this morning I spoke to my landlord. I was so anxious before calling because I didn't want it to feel like I was tattling or trying to blow things up, but I also knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. He picked up quickly and was actually really calm and professional about everything. I explained the situation as clearly and fairly as I could and told him that my roommate's boyfriend has been staying over 5 to 6 nights a week, using all of our utilities, taking over our shared space, and even using my personal things like it's all free, despite not paying a single penny toward rent, bills, or even any shopping. The landlord paused for a moment and then told me that it wasn't okay. He said that technically under the lease, guests are allowed for short stays like the occasional overnight or weekend. But then he said that's very different from someone effectively living in the flat, and that if someone is staying over more than a couple of nights a week on a consistent basis, that counts as an unofficial tenant. He said that if my roommate wants him there full time, he needs to be added to the lease and start contributing to rent and bills immediately. Otherwise, he said her boyfriend will have to seriously cut back on how often he's staying over, and if my roommate refuses to cooperate or tries to keep things as they are, it could result in her being in breach of the lease agreement. He said she could face consequences, including possible eviction if this continues without resolution. That honestly shook me a little, but also validated that I'm not overreacting. Now on to the more awkward part. A few hours ago, around 5 p.m., her boyfriend showed up again. As he came in and went to walk past me like usual, I stopped him and said I needed to talk to him. He looked caught off guard and kind of gave me that fake, confused about what expression, but I stood firm and said I just needed to clear the air. I told him I'd noticed he's been staying here constantly and using all my stuff, such as my shampoo, face wash, razor, deodorant, all of it without ever asking. I said I was really uncomfortable with it, especially since he's not on the lease or contributing anything. That's when he got defensive. He didn't yell or anything, but his tone immediately turned snappy and kind of guilt trippy. He said something like he was sorry he didn't have somewhere else to go right now and that he was in a deep place. He then said that he wasn't trying to make my life hard and that he was just trying to survive. Then he launched into this whole monologue about how he's unemployed, struggling with his mental health, that his family all cut him off, he can barely afford food, let alone shampoo, and how my attitude is just another example of people turning their backs on someone who's already at rock bottom. He even asked if I think he wants to be in this position or if I think he feels good about the way he lives, like I was supposed to feel guilty for bringing it up. I stayed calm and told him that I wasn't trying to kick him while he's down and that if he had just asked me, I probably would have said yes and might have even bought him some basics, but he didn't ask and just started helping himself like it was owed to him. He didn't really have a response to that other than shrugging and muttering that he didn't think it was a big deal and that my roommate told him it was fine. I said it is a big deal to me. This is my home too, and he has been treating it like a free house that he's allowed to live in, and that's not sustainable anymore. I told him my landlord's going to get involved now and things will have to change. Either he gets added to the lease and starts paying his share, or he stops staying over all the time. And if neither, my roommate could end up being evicted. He got quiet after that, gave me some annoyed half apology, and went into her room. Honestly, I think he was more embarrassed than anything. But I'm not backing down now because I've done my part and I've been patient. I've communicated like an adult. So what happens next is on them. No word yet from my roommate after her conversation with the landlord, and she still hasn't come back home, which leads me to believe that she's furious. That said, I'm done prioritizing her comfort over my own peace of mind as I've been more than fair. I will update again if or when my roommate says anything to me. Also, I've officially locked my shower stuff away and the snacks that I had previously bought, which were my snacks I bought with my money. I went to Argos this morning and got one of those little lockable storage boxes and slid it under my bed, as some of you suggested. I made a very unique 4-digit code for it too, so hopefully my roommate's boyfriend doesn't go to the extreme of trying to open and snoop through a locked box. Update 3. Anyway, my roommate came home about an hour ago, just before 12 p.m., and it was obvious from the second she walked through the door that she was furious. She slammed the front door shut, slammed her keys a little too hard onto the side table, and threw her bag down. I was in the living room at the time, and the energy shift was instant. I waited a moment, then came out from the living room, said hello, and asked as gently as I could if everything was okay. She didn't answer right away and just stood there with her jaw clenched before blurting out that she couldn't believe I actually called our landlord. Then she asked me why I was being so dramatic. I stayed calm and said that I had already told her I was going to if nothing changed and that I didn't go behind her back. She gave this bitter laugh and said something along the lines of, "Yeah, well, now thanks to that, our landlord told me in no uncertain terms that he is not allowed to stay more than 2 nights a week anymore unless he starts paying rent." She was absolutely livid. She asked me if I even understood what that meant. Then she said he literally has nowhere else to go right now, and he's been staying here because he doesn't have a home, not because they were trying to take advantage of me or something. She kept telling me he was struggling and would have no money to pay rent or bills, and now what? Is he supposed to just wander around in the cold at night and freeze to death while you sleep soundly, knowing your shampoo's safe and sound? That last line was so sarcastic, it would have been funny if it wasn't so frustrating and guilt-tripping. I took a deep breath and said that it was not about the shampoo, it was about how he's been here constantly, literally living here without ever being asked to contribute anything and had barely even acknowledged me. I mentioned that I tried to talk to her about it twice and she blew it off both times. What else was I supposed to do? She crossed her arms and looked at me like I was the most cold-hearted person alive. She told me he was her boyfriend and of course she would want him here, that he's going through so much and now I've made it so he feels completely unwelcome. She told me his family just cut him off one day with no reason, and all of his friends stopped talking to him too and apparently treated him awfully. Apparently, he called her after I confronted him earlier and told her he's going to stay at a friend's place tonight. He sounded like he was about to cry before he hung up the phone, then said this was just another example of people not giving a fuck about him when he needs it most. I literally didn't even hear him leave, so he must have crept out. I could feel the guilt tripping in every word, but honestly, I have reached a point where I'm done letting it work on me. I said that I was sorry he's going through a rough time, but this is my home too. I pay rent, I pay bills, I keep this place going just like she does. I'm not an extra in her relationship. She brought someone into this space without asking, let him treat it like it's his, and didn't lift a finger when it started affecting me. That's not okay. She went quiet at that, still clearly annoyed, but with nothing left to say. That wouldn't sound like more of the same. After a few seconds, she just said, "I hope you're happy," and walked off into her room, slamming the door behind her. I'm not happy, I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm also not sorry. I've been way more patient than I should have been, and I've tried to handle this like an adult. I don't think her boyfriend feeling unwelcome is because I'm cruel, it's because they've both acted like the rules don't apply to them, and that's not my fault. So I guess this is where things stand for now. Tense, awkward, and probably about to get worse before they get better. But I feel like I can see the horizon of no more stolen shampoo, and hopefully this will all be over soon. Thank you for all of your comments, they mean a lot to me. Update 4. I just wanted to say thank you again for the incredible support, advice, and unbiased opinions you've given me throughout this whole mess of a time. I've read every single comment on my last few posts, and it's been genuinely eye-opening in a beautiful way to realize how many people have been able to offer advice when my head was spinning. So it's been tense but quiet since my last post. My roommate has barely spoken to me, and things have mostly been awkward silence or heavy sighs. I've kept my boundaries up and stayed polite, but we both clearly needed space. Yesterday, my roommate and her boyfriend had a huge argument. I wasn't eavesdropping, but it was loud enough that I couldn't not hear it, as our walls are thin and they were yelling. He was accusing her of being a bad girlfriend for not sticking up for him when I talked to our landlord or sticking up for him when I raised an issue. He actually said that she let me humiliate him and that she didn't even defend him, and said I have made him look pathetic. He went full guilt trip, saying she'd betrayed him and that real partners are supposed to protect each other. He said he felt humiliated, abandoned, and that she clearly didn't care about him at all. It was like watching someone weaponize hurt feelings just to control his narrative. She was crying and trying to explain, but he kept cutting her off, and then suddenly, boom, he slammed the door and stormed out. She followed shortly after. I thought that was probably the end of the drama for the night. I genuinely felt bad for her in that moment. But then at like 2 a.m. this morning, she came stumbling in tipsy and immediately started shouting at me. She slurred something about me just being jealous and mad because I don't have a boyfriend. I literally couldn't be further from being jealous of her and her boyfriend, as he seems to be so cruel and guilt-tripping towards her. Then she said it's because I can't stand seeing her happy, so I ruin it for her. Then she called me bitter, pathetic, and said I was sabotaging her relationship because I'm lonely. I didn't even say anything. I just sat there stunned. She then stomped off to her room and passed out cold. This morning, I woke up to find her sitting at the kitchen table looking rough. She was hungover and clearly very low. She mumbled something about how she doesn't know what to think anymore, and then said she thinks that her boyfriend is only with her for her money. I was genuinely trying to be kind, as I felt bad for her and it must be a tough situation to be in. I told her I was sorry she felt like that and that she deserves better if that's how she's feeling. I thought we were having a real moment. But then she looked at me dead in the eye and said literally, and I quote, "This is your fault." My jaw dropped. I literally said, "Excuse me," and she repeated it. She said if I hadn't blown everything out of proportion and gone to our landlord, none of this would have happened and her boyfriend wouldn't be angry with her. Then she said I ruined everything. In that moment, I realized this wasn't fair. I've been nothing but fair, and I've tried so hard to set boundaries respectfully, communicate like an adult, and not cause drama. I've gone out of my way to make this place livable and still got blamed for everything. Now I'm being guilt-tripped because her boyfriend treats the flat like a free hotel and she's too far gone to see it. Which brings me to the next part of this post. Our lease is up for renewal on August 1st. Our landlord emailed us both yesterday with a standard renewal reminder and asked us to let him know by July 1st if we're planning to stay, so he has time to prepare the paperwork or start listing the flat. I've thought long and hard about this and have come to the conclusion that I don't want to live with her anymore. Even if her boyfriend disappears tomorrow, the trust and respect are gone, and the ability to feel comfortable in my own home is hanging by a thread. I won't be renewing my half. Whether I find a new place alone or with someone else, I'm not staying here. I haven't told her yet because I'm not in the mood to get screamed at again, but I'll be giving proper notice soon and reaching out to our landlord to clarify the process. I'll do it properly and respectfully, but I know that I will no longer live here. I have mentally committed, and this weekend I'm going to start the house share search. I'm equal parts nervous and excited. Nervous because I'm in a very good location right now, and the rent isn't cheap, but reasonable for what it is. I know I might not get quite as lucky again, especially solo, but I'd rather pay a little more than keep sacrificing my sanity. I'm still sad that it came to this because this flat could have been a dream, but I know I'm making the right decision. I deserve a space that feels like mine, or at least one I'm not constantly being pushed out of emotionally. So yeah, wish me luck. And if anyone knows of a spare room in a chill flat with non-toxic housemates and boundaries that are respected, feel free to manifest it into the universe for me. Ha ha ha. Thank you to everyone who's commented and supported me through this absolutely bonkers situation. You made me feel sane and reminded me that I deserve to feel safe, respected, and comfortable in my own home. Unknowable Duck said, "This girl is a lot more patient than me. I am absolutely not a welfare office for someone who can't even do the damn dishes now and then, and certainly not for some hobosexual asshole who's mad the world isn't taking care of him. Has he tried to get a job, going down to get unemployment, or whatever their country's equivalent is? Like, girl, no dick is worth this." To this, Aquino Idea said, "If I were ever in the position of needing to stay with someone for free for an extended period and I was unemployed, you can be damn sure that I would ask before using anything of theirs and make looking after that place my full-time job. All the cleaning, all the chores, everything. I don't think I could look myself in the mirror if I didn't do everything in my power to help make the life of the person who is sharing their home with me for free as easy and pleasant as possible." What a fucking freeloader. Ugly Mate said, "Best for OP to get out of there, not renew her lease, and keep it quiet. The roommate will be insufferable until then. Chances are the roommate is planning exactly the same thing." Melanistic Mermaid said, "I'm sorry, but if the boyfriend is the roommate's world, she can pay his damn share of expenses. It sounds like she works, so expecting her roommate to pick up the slack for her boyfriend because he's going through it is so entitled." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.